A couple of days ago, I made a video about how David was charged for his crime of the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez and how he might be potentially facing the death penalty from the legal system, but will more than likely go to jail for the rest of his life. And, you know, that's a real grass is green ass take right there, fork found in kitchen sort of, area that people have already investigated and have already concluded that this guy is definitely the murderer. And it is so sad and tragic to see who he murdered. It's a little girl pretty much, and it literally was a little girl, a minor, someone he had sexual intentions with. He had a sexual relationship with her. So not only is it discovered that he's a brutal murderer, but he's also a pedophile as well. And it's just so sad, so sad, so sad and terrible for both sides. One, that he's a horrible person, and the family that had to suffer through this frightening uncertainty of not knowing where their daughter was and having to come to terms with the fact that she is gone now. And just, it's heartbreaking, dude. It really is. But I always think to myself in this situation, I like to think of the best of things. Like, there's no way this can possibly get worse, right? It's impossible. This is as bad as it can get. He's already behind bars. He's already more than likely going to go to jail for the rest of his life, if not die for his crime. And the family can rest easy knowing that they will more than likely get justice for this murder. But boy, oh boy, was I very wrong, because terrible, terrible things have just been discovered. That when David was arrested, obviously he had to forfeit all of his belongings, his cars, his houses for the investigation, including his mobile device, which the investigators thoroughly searched through and discovered that he had an insane amount of child pornography on his phone. Brother, that was wild for me to see for the first time. I didn't even think he would do this. Obviously, he is a pedophile, so I know this isn't like a huge surprise, but they discovered 40 gigabytes worth of child porn. Brother, that is massive, dude. That amount of data for a single topic is wild. And it's just sad to think that, I know there's not a lot of people like him out there, but there are people like him out there. There are people in prison, there are people who are dead, and there are people who are out here walking the streets of Earth knowing that they are doing something as terrible, as horrible, and as trashy as pedophilia, child porn, all of that stuff. That is a big no-no. I know, huge take right there, but it's a no bueno sort of thing that lots of people look down upon, and more than likely, when you go to prison, prisoners look down upon. Like, they will do some egregious things, but when messing with a minor comes to topic, dude, they are not forgiving for that, dude. Like, they'll ask you, hey, what you in for? Child porn, dead. They sneak up you in the shower, dead. You're gone, brother. And it's even got to the point, like, where people know that David is a goner. Like, the legal system knows that he's a goner. They have people transporting him personally from his cell to the shower, to the commissary, back to his cell, outside in the recreational area. He is not allowed to speak or hang out with anybody because they know the potential dangers that he will more than likely get his ass murdered by prisoner inmates. So they even know that he's a goner in prison, dude. They know. And that's what's wild about it, is that they know how egregious this man is. I don't even want to call him a man. He's a maggot, dude. This guy's a literal worm. He's a parasite, a cancer on society that is finally getting what he deserves. So I'm not even going to refer to him as a man. This guy's a fucking pathetic loser. He is, again, finally getting what he deserves. But imagine, you're so dedicated to one topic, child pornography, dude. One topic, even if it isn't child porn, even if it's something that's like good, like recreational activities or whatnot. But the fact that you're that obsessed to where you need to have 40 terabytes of information and data on one device is wild. Even if it's a good thing, like maybe you need to take a step back and realize maybe this isn't good for me. Maybe I'm a little more obsessed than I once thought. But this is terrible, dude. Child pornography, again, big no-no, brother. That is not taken too kindly by anybody, dude. And again, it really saddens me to know that she is gone now, and that the family have to come to terms with her death. But at least they can know that she is now resting peacefully, and that the man behind the murder will more than likely spend the rest of his life in jail. And this is what I find crazy, dude. Imagine if he isn't convicted. Now, I understand that's a long shot, because the justice system does do some good things, right? But we all know it's rigged, mostly, somewhat, at least a little bit corrupt. I would not be surprised if he got off easy. I would love to think that they're gonna get him for every conceivable act, every possible year he can spend in prison. I'm hoping that they can get him on that. But I also know that he can do things. He can pay people. He can, he's got some sort of assets going on. And that may come into play here. I hope not. I really do. Because that is sad and pathetic. If they don't convict him on this crime, or at least give him some sort of a chance of getting out of prison again, 100% the justice system is rigged. And now I always want to believe that they will do the right thing. Because this is an atrocity, dude. It is one not to be taken lightly, in a very serious situation, not to be joked about. So I have to place the faith in the justice system here, knowing that they can get the proper justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez and get the proper justice for the family of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, because no one deserves to go out the way she did, except David himself. Obviously chopped up into little itty-bitty bits and discovered in the trunk of his Tesla. That is an awful way to go out. And they actually discovered how she went out. She went out with multiple puncture wounds inside of her body, so she was more than likely stabbed to death. Very, very awful way to go. And then obviously was chopped up and put into a couple of body bags. You just can't get worse than this guy. I mean, you really, really can't. And just thinking, this guy was dedicating his life to making people happy, dude. Performing on some of the biggest stages in the world. Very, very big star, I'd like to think, because he is pretty famous, I'd say. So he's got some good songs or whatever. But yeah, this guy is like the modern William Afton, going and doing things to make people happy and entertain the masses, and then knowing you're an awful person underneath. That's some straight Five Nights at Freddy's shit, dude. He might as well dress up in the Spring Bonnie outfit and just get to stabbing, dude. Like, this is not cool. Like, I'm glad they're finally getting him for it. So this is a bit of a yap sesh right here, I know, but a huge discovery, one that you could be surprised about or could not be surprised about. I think it goes both ways. But, it's awful. It really is. But if you manage to stay this long through my constant yapping, sorry for that. I really appreciate it. You guys are cool. But, yeah, I guess this is it, and I hope to see you in the next one.